Good morning. We are here today to talk about falls prevention, and we're considering some shoes because Walk with Ease is one of our fall prevention programs, and they talk about how important the shoe that you wear is for fall prevention. So one of my students said we needed to come to see this lady, Ellie Penner. That must be you.
Yes, welcome to Soul Dimensions. This is our new facility here in Wake Forest. And I am a certified orthotist. And I'm going to take a look at your feet today.
Awesome. Now, what brought you here to this area?
Well, I've been doing this for about 32 years.
Wow.
I started in 1987 and opened my own facility in 1989 in Canada called Healthy Feet Foot Clinic. I did that there for about 10 years after earning a Bachelor of Science degree in kinesiology. So I was very interested in human movement, and so that kind of led me to the field of orthotics. And then once I moved to the United States, I opened my first facility called Soul Dimensions in Myrtle Beach before coming to Wake Forest in 2009. And I've been doing it here ever since.
Oh, wow, but this is brand new.
Yes, this is our third location. We've grown over the 11 years we've been doing this here. And now we have this beautiful facility which allows us to offer a lot more options for people, a lot more footwear, and more orthotics and socks.
And more shoes. I already see everything. I see lots of things I want. Well, can we get started?
Absolutely.
So, I guess.
Let's have you take off your shoes and socks.
Oh,
so
wow.
Take a look.
This is embarrassing. I didn't do my toenails, but anyway, what can I say?
That's okay.
All right.
All right, just let your feet sit flat on the ground. I'm just going to take a look at your non-weight bearing arch here first. Just look at the basic alignment. All right, I'll have you stand up for me. Now I'm going to look at what happens to your arch when you stand up.
Well, you know I have a kind of unique situation. I have an artificial ankle.
Yes.
So
that adds another dimension to your
my problems.
Yes. All right, I'll let you have a seat there again. And I'm going to take a closer look at this foot here first.
Yeah,
just bring it straight up.
That'd be the bad one.
Yeah, and just relax. Everything relax. There we go. So I'm just kind of looking at the movement you have in your heel first. So the movement in your, what we call your calcaneus or heel bone. And so it's important to know how much movement you have. There is about 30 degrees of movement, but whether it's all to the inside or whether you have available motion to the outside will indicate how your foot's going to function when you're walking and how good a shock absorber your foot's going to be.
Oh, wow.
Or how unstable your foot's going to be as you go through the gait cycle. So it's important to look at how that heel is aligned.
Is there a good baseline number for like the percentage of movement or?
Well, like I said, there is 30 degrees of motion, but what foot type we have is generally, we inherit our foot type.
They're feet types. I did not know that.
There are different foot types. And the only thing we can do is if we get kids when they're young enough, we can actually help that foot develop a better foot type. But that has to be done starting fairly early on, around age 4, 5, 6, if you can get them early. Once they're 11 or 12, they pretty much have their adult foot type.
Wow. So the walking barefoot thing as a child was maybe not that good, huh?
Well, it depends on the foot type that you inherited. I mean, every child should have a foot screening, just like they have an eye screening and a hearing screening and different things when they're younger. Let's find out what foot type they have, especially if the parents have a lot of foot issues. They probably passed on that foot type to their children. So,
genetics.
Yes. So as a member of the American College of Foot and Ankle Pediatric Association, I'm always on top of what they're doing in terms of helping kids and in the pediatric field of foot.
Wow. When I was growing up, Ellie, all we had was dry right. That's the only thing I remember.
Right. Yeah.
As a child.
Yeah.
You had dry rights.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, a good athletic shoe is probably the best shoe for kids. We do a lot of the New Balance kid shoes that are very stable.
Okay.
And then just a little insole in there to help that foot function better and develop better. Really go a long way, especially also things like in-toeing and toe walking. Those are all issues that we can look at with kids. So
Awesome.
All right, so now I'm going to put your foot in basically what we call a neutral position, and I'm going to look at the alignment of your forefoot.
Okay.
And now your front of your foot in relation to your rear foot is fairly neutral. So some people will have their foot on an angle this way, which is a valgus alignment, and some people, or varus alignment, some people have it lined this way, which is valgus. So we want to see how your forefoot aligns with your rear foot. So this is basically what I'm looking at now. and that's pretty neutral. Now we'll look at this foot and do the same thing.
A little different, huh?
A little different. I mean, if you have an artificial joint, obviously that's going to impact the alignment, and you have a little less motion in that heel, probably as a result of that. The other thing I like to look at is what happens to this first joint when we load it. And you see how yours completely locks up? Mm-hmm. Now, if we support your arch and drop that down, you have a little bit of motion, but you don't have a whole lot of motion in that joint. So that joint can start to become arthritic, or it can affect your ability to walk. So if you can't push off over that joint, you're going to have to go around it. So we're going to see what you do and how you compensate for that lack of motion in that joint. So the next thing I'd like you to do is just walk. Just walk to that shoe display down there and back again.
I never was a runway queen.
So I can really see how you're compensating on that foot with that artificial. You just do not, your foot just stays on the outside. Yeah. You don't have enough movement there to come in at all. So that heel sits to the inside, and the forefoot is neutral, but there's not enough movement to allow your foot to pronate. So you stay what we call supinated. Okay. You stay to the outside.
Well, you know, when I walk like on a street, I try to go to the middle of the street instead of the edge, because I know
they're panting.
Yeah.
So if you walk on the side where that foot's going to be on an angle this way, you have a higher risk of straining your ankle or walking to the outside.
Yeah. Well, that's why I do it.
Yeah. This foot does come in a little more. You're certainly not completely flattening the arch, but you have a little more mid-stance pronation on that foot, which is unlocking of the mid-tarsal joints through here.
Awesome. Okay. What's next?
Well, now what we're going to do is do a 3D foot scan and just take a closer look at the pressure under your feet when you're standing, and just there's 18 cameras.
This is cool. You got a treadmill. What are we doing? What do you do with this treadmill?
Well, we use the treadmill once it's fully hooked up to really educate the person about their feet. If you get a view of your feet from behind and can watch it on a TV screen, you can really understand what's going on.
What do we have here?
Okay, so this is Albert. It's a very intelligent system developed by Atrex. And inside here, we actually have 18 cameras that are going to take pictures of your feet. And it also has a pressure sensor in there, and we can look at the pressure points in your foot. So we're going to go through an assessment with Albert, and he's going to give us some great information that will help you understand your feet. Okay. So first thing I'd like you to do, first I'm just going to hit female, and I'll have you stand on that side, and then just follow what Albert has you doing there. Put the other foot in the center of that center. Okay. There, all right, and just stay like that for a minute while see the camera's taking several pictures of your feet.
Oh, good. It didn't get the toenail polish.
All right. Now you can stand out and you just do the same thing on the other side.
All right, Albert.
Just takes a few seconds for each foot. And now I'll have you stand in the center with your feet on the footprints.
My balance is off today. Okay.
All right, here we go. And now it's taking all the pressure on your feet.
Now, so the redder areas are where I'll put the most pressure.
Yes, the darker the color, the more pressure.
That's interesting. So you can obviously tell my bad foot, I don't put the pressure on my heel. I don't really on my heel.
You put more pressure on the front. So you have, if we look at both these feet, you can see that this foot has a lot more pressure on the heel. So you're kind of over on the outside of the heel, and this one a lot less pressure in the front of the foot, and this foot really has a lot of pressure under the ball of the foot. Do you have any pain in that area? Any?
I always have pain in my feet, Ellie. Yeah. You know, when you've had an artificial joint, you're subject to it all the time.
Right. Yeah.
So, but it's funny how I'm compensating.
Yeah. So probably a little bit of offloading of those metatarsal heads might reduce some of that pressure. A little more cushioning.
Okay.
And you can see that your arch is fairly high. You're not really taking any pressure through there. So another thing is to distribute that weight through your foot better, and that might take some of the pressure off the heel and the ball of the foot, the heel back here and the ball of the foot up there. And then we can look at other views of the feet. So here's the feet. We can move this around and look at, we can send you a copy of your foot scan.
Yeah.
That's why that pops up.
Well, nobody needs it but you.
It's up to you. If people want to have a copy to look at again, we can definitely do that. And then if we look along the side here, we can look at different things. Here's the length of each foot, because our feet are not always the same. And in your case, you can see your left foot is longer and your right foot's a little shorter. And then we look at the width of the foot. And again, our feet are not always the same. You have your left foot being a little wider than your right foot. And then this one looks at the instep height. Like, what is the height from the bottom of the ground to the top of your instep? This can play a role in fitting people in shoes, because some shoes have a shorter vamp or a longer vamp, and just the way they tie, that might put too much pressure on a foot that has a higher, and you can see your right foot is higher in that instep. Then of course we look at the arch. What's the height of the arch? And you can see one of your arches, your left arch, is lower than your right arch.
Interesting.
And then we look at the girth of the foot. So that's a measurement all the way around your foot, like the volume of your foot. Because again, some people may not measure wide, but if they have a lot of volume to their foot, we might have to put them in a wider shoe. Because a wider shoe just means more material. So that will give that foot more room in the shoe. And then down here it shows the median shoe size is 7. So that means you probably vary from 7 to 8.
I usually get an 8 because it fits both feet the best.
Right.
Or I get two separate sizes.
And when you have two different size feet, this isn't really taking into account all of that.
Yeah.
Then we can just show what percentile your foot falls in terms of the length of the foot. And you can look at each foot. And then if we look at a vision analysis, here's an actual picture of your foot. So now we do see the toenail polish, and we can just move that all around. And then we can take a look at the other foot, and we can actually see how your foot looks.
Wow.
So that's the actual picture of your foot. And then we can also look, let's go back to this, is it this one? No, let's go back to this one, and we can look at the pronation.
Oh, wow.
So this takes a line down the back of the foot, and we can see how your feet are different, okay? Your right foot, you can see how it's sitting more to the outside, and the left foot has a little more pronation. We can adjust these angles a little bit too, so they line up with the bones of your ankle. You can move those around. And then we can also look at an actual live camera picture of your foot. And so we can see the difference in your feet that way as well. So there's a lot of different things we can do with this that really just help educate you about your feet, so you understand some of the things you can do to help reduce the pain.
Yeah.
Well, this is my new lab, which is really great because I have all my equipment in one place, which allows me to do a lot of different things. One of the things I do the most is use these pre-made corrective orthotics, and then I can customize them and put a covering on them, and they last for several years, and people can just move them around from shoe to shoe. So it has the correction they need, but it's not made from a cast. I can make them right from a cast of the foot as well, a full custom, but these work so well that I end up doing a lot of these. And what these are based on is the assessment that I do. I can put everybody that comes into one of these 24-foot types.
They're 24-foot types.
Yes.
Wow.
So basically, what we're looking at is, remember when I looked at your heel and how the movement in the heel, we look at the alignment of that rear foot. So the more inverted or varus that heel sits, the more you move to this side of the chart. The next thing we look at on the side in the rows is we're looking at the alignment of the forefoot in relation to the rear foot. So up here we have a small and large forefoot valgus, we have a neutral forefoot, and then small, medium, large forefoot varus. So based on that, I can put somebody into one of these foot types. They basically took the foot that represented each of these 6 quads, took and cast that foot and made a pre-made corrective orthotic.
Oh, well, which am I?
You fall into the C.
Okay, I'm a C.
You are a C. And then if you look at this chart, these are the 6 different foot types. The only one, this E quad, actually has 2 different orthotics because the people over here have a little bit higher arch than the people on this side. If you think that there's 4 foot types within that quad. So this chart really explains to people, you know, the alignment of their foot, and it also talks about some of the problems that can develop with each of these foot types. Because each foot type is going to be more prone to different things. Every foot type can develop plantar fasciitis, but it's more common with these foot types right here because that arch is collapsing a lot more. These 2 have a higher arch. The rest of them have a low to flat arch.
Wow.
So we try to educate people about their foot type, and once they know their foot type, there's also footwear that goes along with that foot type that we can educate them these are the best shoes that are going to help your foot function better as well.
So I can't go to a regular shoe store and have them understand this at all or tell me about this. So who can do this for me?
Well, either a podiatrist or a podorthist.
Okay.
So as a certified podorthist, I trained at the Podiatric College in Chicago. I've trained with podiatrists my whole life. But as a podorthist, we're really on the front end of podiatry. We're really the preventative, using shoes and insoles to help people's feet function better. We don't do anything invasive or any surgery. So if things have progressed a lot further, then that person might need to go see a podiatrist if they need more invasive. But we're hoping to help prevent that so that they don't need that.
So this is my new stock room, and this is one of the main reasons why we needed to move to this larger facility because we're carrying so many shoes. We have lots of athletic shoes, but we also have casual shoes, dress shoes, sandals, everything that passes my podorthic test, but we also try to make sure they're cute and fashionable as well. So this is my large stock room.
In analysis of my foot, you said I was a C.
Yes.
So tell me what else I need to be looking for, like in the Walk with Ease class. I mean, what are my concerns when I go for a walk?
Well, every foot type has different concerns. So it's really important to understand your foot type because your foot type's a little more stable, but because that one foot has that artificial joint, you do tend to lean to the outside. So you're going to have concerns if you're on an uneven terrain that you might sprain your ankle. So you're going to want to have a shoe that has some stability on both the outside and the inside, depending on what terrain you're walking on. If you're walking on a flat paved surface, then you just want to make sure you have a good cushioning shoe because your foot is less able to absorb shock. So every foot has different needs. So if you're a poor shock absorber, you're going to have more cushioning. If your foot has more movement from outside to inside, you want to have good torsional stability. If your arch is collapsing, you really need to help stabilize that foot. Because as the arch collapses, it unlocks the bones in the foot and makes the foot more unstable. So all the needs are addressed once we assess your foot type and show you what your foot's doing.
Wow. Well, I saw a couple things in your showroom. Can I ask you about them?
Absolutely.
Socks. Now, some people like to wear socks. Some people don't wear socks.
Right.
Tell me, you got lots of socks.
Well,
tell me about why is this a part of what's important?
Well, there's a lot of technology actually in socks, and a lot of people think a cotton sock is good, but actually a cotton sock isn't the best sock to wear. A lot of the materials they use in these socks are other than cotton, but the idea is that they're moisture wicking, they keep your feet drier, and each sock has different features in them, like Feature Socks, that's the name of the company, features arch support in them. So they actually are left and right sock, and they have compression in the arch that helps support your arch. And they come in 3 thicknesses, so if somebody wants more padding, we have the max cushion, we have the medium cushion. Some people really like a really thin sock, so we have also the ultra light in this sock.
Wow.
We also have plantar fasciitis socks, and these actually have a lot more compression than just the feature socks. They have 20 to 30 millimeters of pressure in targeted areas of the sock.
Right. Well, plantar fasciitis is a problem a lot of my friends have. What really causes that? Is that...
Well, over the years I've been doing this, has been and continues to be the #1 problem that I see. And it's the cause is a couple different things. Definitely tight calf muscles contribute to plantar fasciitis. A lot of people are very busy. They don't take the time to stretch. So if you think of your foot, you think of the Achilles tendon attaches into the back of the heel and the plantar fascias in the bottom of the heel. Tight calf muscles will pull that heel away and transfer more stress onto the plantar fascia. The other problem is the arch collapsing. So as the arch collapses, it stretches that plantar fascia, so it's already tight, and then when you go to push off, it wants to wind around the metatarsal heads to try to stabilize your foot, and it stretches even further. So people that overpronate or collapse their arch are also more susceptible to plantar fasciitis.
So another reason it's important to have the right kind of shoe to walk. Well, I saw something else. Speaking of plantar fasciitis, this is cute. What is this?
Well, a lot of people have trouble, stretching those calf muscles. I mean, if you lean off the back of the stair, sometimes you stress the plantar fascia even more. So one good way to stretch is just use a towel or belt around your foot and to pull back.
Okay, we do that and walk with ease.
Right.
Okay.
But some people find apparatus like this much easier because you put your foot in it and it just rocks back and it stretches those muscles very easily. And you can easily do it on both feet, and it really helps keep that Achilles tendon stretched out.
Well, one other thing I hear from some of my students, or I don't want to call them students, but some of the participants is, they pick shoes because they don't want to tie them.
Right.
So a lot of them in the Walk with Ease class are wearing this slip-in kind of shoe. And I noticed that you've got some interesting kinds of laces. Are these with seniors in mind and people that don't want to tie their shoes?
Well,
tell me.
believe it or not, these laces I use with all ages. A lot of kids that aren't tying their shoes will like these laces. A lot of athletes that are, maybe transitioning if they're doing a triathlon, or they're going for a run and they want to just be able to slip on their shoe. Or seniors, that maybe someone who can't bend down to tie their laces or finds it harder to do that. These work for all
ages.
All ages.
So that's definitely a solution, so you can't say you don't want to tie your shoes anymore, right?
And we can put these in for people, and we adjust the amount of that they need to get their foot in, and then if they want to tighten it a little bit, they just have to pull that down, and they can just pop that little piece underneath the front. So it gives a nice look to the shoe when it's on, and they work for all size shoes as well.
And this is just a little bit different, like a cat. What does this do?
Yeah,
the
Hickeys is a system. If you kind of look at the picture here, it goes across from one to the other. So they're individual pieces, and it's not as adjustable, but there's different ways you can put them in if you want it a little looser at the top, a little tighter at the bottom. And they have a whole video, actually. I think even they have instructions that come with it. And again, we can help people put these in if that's something they want.
So, I think of people that have had hip surgeries that they can't bend over. That's really good for that.
Absolutely.
And what is this little gizmo here?
Well, we have all sizes of these grid. They're definitely used to help somebody release adhesions in their muscles if their muscles are really tight. So if you look at the way the grid's designed, you see how it's sort of smoother here, and this is more like your knuckles. So if you're trying to massage and trigger those muscles to relax, you can use different parts of this and roll over it. Cool. So if I was had this on the ground and say I had my arm, usually it's going to be something like your leg, your calf. This one, very small one, it was designed so people can take it when they travel, because it fits in a suitcase and it's hollow in the middle, so you can stuff things in between. We have 3 or 4 different sizes of these.
Well, I think I've learned a lot now. I guess I need to get a pair of shoes.
Yes, let's go talk about footwear.
All right, Ellie, before we get started, I just want to bring some things that I have in my closet.
All right.
That I sometimes walk in. And this is pretty normal for people that just want to, think they want to go for a walk. And maybe you can tell me, I know you're not cutting down my shoes, but why would these not be appropriate for me to?
Well, this is a cute little shoe that you can slip on, and it's great for, just slipping on and maybe doing an errand or something in. But there's really not a lot of support for your arch. You can see you have a little bit higher arch, and there was this real space on the on Albert when we looked at your arch height.
Right.
So this is just flat inside, first of all, so there's nothing really to support your arch inside. I mean, it's not too bad for just torsionally. It's not too unstable, but for walking, there's not enough shock absorption for you. So if you look in the material in here, this is kind of a rubbery material, so there's nothing that's really going to help you absorb the shock, and your foot is a poor shock absorber, so you need more cushioning for your walking, for your fitness walking that you're doing.
Oh, wow, that's kind of probably the best of the choices. I'm not afraid to hear what you might say. This is kind of maybe the same thing, but now, you know, I got these because they're slip-ons,
Right.
you know, and,
Yeah, so this shoe is a little less stable than that one. So
Yeah.
you can see how you can really twist it torsionally. And also the problem I can see is that it kind of bends in the middle of your foot. We really want the shoe to flex up here, but in the back part, we want it to be a little bit more stable for your walking because you need more support. This has nice memory foam in here.
yeah,
And a lot of people think that when their feet hurt, they just need soft and memory foam. But what they really need is something to help their foot function better so that their foot's not being overworked. All those muscles are working harder when their foot's not being supported. So over time, I always get the complaints that I bought these soft shoes and they felt good at first, but then my feet hurt because they're not getting the support that they need.
okay, well, I'm really scared of these. All right.
All right. Yeah. Well,
They make me look hip.
yeah,
You know?
it's again a cute little shoe, but no shock absorption for you at all, and even less stability. This one is really flexible. There's nothing to help support your foot at all. So wearing this type of shoe for a long period of time, and especially for walking, is probably going to lead to foot pain and maybe damage to your foot.
Okay, so why don't you show me what you'd recommend?
Okay. Well, I brought out a few options here. The Brooks shoes, the ones with the guide rails, is a really good design for you because it has a guide rail on the outside. You can see how that one foot was kind of walking on the outside that had the artificial joint. So there's actually some support on the outside of that heel on this foot. And then there's also a guide rail on the inside. So the whole idea of this shoe is just to help keep you more centered. So we don't want you going this way or this way.
To make me fall or
Right.
twist my ankle or anything like that?
Right. So, and again, none of these shoes really put in much arch support. You would really have to put something else in, and we recommend a lot of different arch supports or orthotics, or
Right.
we can give you different options that you could have more support inside the shoe as well.
That's interesting.
This shoe is a level up in cushioning. So if if you were increasing your distance or doing a lot more walking, you might want a little better cushioning in the shoe. So this is the next level up. The material is a little better cushioning. It's got the same design with the guide rails on both sides. So these two shoes would be really great for you. And I have another shoe here. This one kind of cradles the foot. It wraps around the foot and has these two pods here, again, to keep you more stable. It's not trying to push you one way or another. It's just trying to give you that stable base. Then I also have a couple New Balance shoes. These have this fresh foam cushioning, which is great for you because it's really cushioned. And feel how light that shoe is.
Yeah. Oh my. It
Yeah.
looks light.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice and light. The fresh foam is a little soft, a little lighter weight than the EVA, but the EVAs are getting lighter as well. So this one, again, you see how you can't twist it and you can't fold it in half, but it's going to bend here where we want the foot to bend. This shoe is even lighter. It's a new shoe that just came in. It's got really great cushioning, fresh foam cushioning.
Oh wow, that's like nothing.
Yeah. Some people really like a lightweight shoe. They don't want to be, lugging around a heavy shoe. But again, all these shoes that we offer are going to have support. Every foot type needs some amount of support. Just the flatter the arch, the more we have to stabilize that foot.
Well, there's one other, for fall prevention in general. I mean, we have a walk with ease class, but the older we get, sometimes we're in our homes, we are not as careful as we need to be. So, is there something or advice that you might give me as to what? Are tennis shoes good? I call them tennis shoes, but is this type of shoe good for at home, or should I go barefoot, or what should I wear at home?
You could wear an athletic shoe in the house, but again, if you don't want to have to take the time to put that on in the house, we have a lot of supportive sandals with some with a back on them if you need to be a little bit more secured in the shoe. Some you can just slip on. A lot of people may have to get up in the night. It's good to have something to support your foot, your arch, and as you're walking, because we have so many hard surfaces, hardwood, tile in our homes, that causes the foot to compensate. If your foot's coming down to that hard, flat surface and that arch is collapsing, then you're going to be more unstable, and that can lead to problems in the house.
Well, this has been great. I'm not sure which color I want, but
I would recommend coming and learning. This has
Yeah.
been great. Thank you so much
Oh,
for your
you're
time,
welcome.
Melanie. Appreciate it.
Enjoyed it. Thank you.